Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste and good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is actually the first session. Yesterday was introductory. This is the first session of this book. Now, when I mentioned Vedanta last evening, I gave the traditional definition of Vedanta. Vedanta nama Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta is the source of knowledge called Upanishads. And I focused yesterday on the word Pramanam, source of knowledge. In one sense, most of what I said yesterday is an explanation of what Pramana means for us in spiritual life. How is it different from belief or practice? Pramana, source of knowledge. But today I want to start with the other word, which is Vedanta. Vedanta nama Upanishad Pramanam. The other word is Upanishad. So what is Vedanta? Vedanta is certainly a source of knowledge, but what kind of source of knowledge? It is the group of texts called Upanishads. The moment you say texts, we feel, oh, so there's some books and you have to believe what those books say. No, not like that. These books are like a collection of pointers. They show us, they're trying to show us something, and we are supposed to see it. In fact, in reality, just like nose, you can say nose is the organ of respiration, is the organ of smell. Those are words. Nose is a word. In return for that word, I gave more words. But how about pointing out the reality directly? Similarly, because the nose is something that is present right here. Similarly, the self, who we are, what we are, is present to us, is available to us all the time. It's the only thing that is available to us all the time. So it can be pointed out. This pointing out is done in the Upanishads. Now, the Upanishads are found in the Vedas. There are many Upanishads, but in our tradition, in the non-dual Vedanta tradition, if you go back to Adi Shankaracharya, he wrote commentaries on 10, arguably 11 Upanishads. He wrote commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita itself is based on the Upanishads. Krishna draws heavily from the Upanishads when he teaches. Sometimes he quotes directly from the Upanishads when he is teaching Arjuna. And there is another text of Vedanta called the Brahma Sutras, which are philosophical discussions of various issues which rise from the Upanishads. But the Upanishads are the source of Vedanta. They are the source of Bhagavad Gita, they are the source of the Brahma Sutras. So Vedanta is, textually speaking, if you ask, this system of knowledge you're talking about, what text, where is it originating? What's the source? What's the root? The root is Upanishads. And the 10 Upanishads, there is this cute little verse which we used to remember the names of the 10 Upanishads, the course of study. Isha kena katha prashna mundamandukya titirihi aitareyam cha chandogyam brihad aranyakam tatha. Ishopanishad, Kena Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Mundakopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Aitariya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad also, Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. 10. Now, based on these 10 Upanishads, Adi Shankaracharya wrote extensive commentaries which are also essential for understanding non-dual Vedanta. But he wrote a number of independent works, and the other followers of Shankaracharya over down the centuries to the present age have written many, many works. And they are all based on the Upanishads directly or indirectly. So they all say the same message conveyed in the Upanishads is being conveyed in various different forms in these books. The authors of these books are very humble. They never claim to say anything new. Sureshwaracharya, one of Shankaracharya's disciples, when composing his masterpiece Naishkarmya Siddhi, at the beginning of that book, it's also a book about Advaita Vedanta. At the beginning of that book, he says, one may ask, if the master Shankaracharya has said all that there has to be said about Advaita Vedanta, why are you writing another book? And he says, it is just to check my own understanding. It's a masterpiece of Advaita Vedanta, written 1,000 years ago, Naishkarmya Siddhi. Similarly, all the other authors, Shankara himself and all the others, they write a number of other texts called manuals or introductory texts in Sanskrit, Prakarana Granthas. Many of them are famous. Vivek Chudamani. In fact, many people have their introduction into Advaita Vedanta, including myself, through the Vivek Chudamani, written probably by Adi Shankaracharya. Atma Bodha, Vakya Vritti, then the Dakshinamurti Stotra, other books like Panchadashi, Upadesha Sahasri, some written by Shankara, some written by post-Shankara Advaitins, Vedanta Sara, Vedanta Paribhasha, many, Aparoksha Anubhuti, many other books. Now there is one book which does not fall neatly into this category of traditional Shankara texts, Shankara and post-Shankara texts. This book is called, it's also a very beloved book of Advaita Vedanta. It is called Yoga Vasishta. Yoga Vasishta. It's not written by Shankaracharya, it's written long before Shankaracharya. It's not one of the Upanishads. It's not the Bhagavad Gita. It's not, although it's almost of the same genre as the Bhagavad Gita. It's not the Brahma Sutras. It's an independent work. And yet it is held very dear by non-dualists, Advaitins. The story goes that the prince Rama studied Vedanta and was convinced Brahman alone is real, the world is false, it's an appearance. So I don't have to be the king of Ayodhya. And he wanted to renounce the world and become a wandering monk and become enlightened and realize I am Brahman and be free. Naturally, his father Dasharatha was very worried. Who will become the crown prince and the king? Very ironic, thinking about what happened later on. But he wanted Rama to be the king. So he convinced the royal sage Vashishta, please convince the prince to do his duty, like rule the kingdom and marry and do everything that's expected of him. So Vashishta goes and Ramachandra tells him, I have studied Vedanta, I know Brahman alone is real, all this is an appearance, why go into all of this? And then Vashishta teaches him. And the teaching, it's a vast text, 30,000 plus verses, 30,000 plus. If you see the available volumes with Hindi translation or some other translation, it will stretch into multiple volumes, in English also. Often what you get as Yoga Vashishta is a selection, usually it's a selection. So 30,000 verses. What Vashishta does there is convince Rama that you can do everything in the world. You can be a king, you can be married, you can have children, you can administer a kingdom, conduct the affairs of the world. Everything you can do while being fully enlightened. There is no contradiction. He says, Vashishta says, Sri Ramakrishna quotes this actually. Vashishta says to Rama, well Rama, it's good that you want to realize Brahman, but tell me, the world that you want to leave behind, is it other than Brahman? Are there two realities? One world which you want to give up and one Brahman which you want to get? Rama, of course, can't say yes. He has studied Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda says, very rousing sentences. He who wants to run away to the mountains, to the Himalayas and meditate and die there has missed the goal. He who plunges headlong into the vanities and the foolishnesses and luxuries of the world has missed the goal. This is very strange. Either you leave everything and, as much as possible and be a hermit or a monk, or you plunge into the world. There are only these two options, binary. What else is there? But Vivekananda is saying both have missed the goal. Both have missed the way. Then what is the way? The way is to divinize life itself. Whoever you are with, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, to see God there. To divinize life. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Ishopanishad, the first line, it says that whatever is there in this world, moving or unmoving, sentient, insentient, whatever you experience in the world, is to be covered by God. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Shankaracharya explains, covered by God means to uncover. God is already there. It's not that there's the world and then you have to put like a bed sheet over the world, you have to cover it. Exactly that language he uses, Sanskrit, achadanyam, to cover, like you cover with a cloth. It means to uncover. How do you uncover? So Shankaracharya says you have to discover. Discover. From cover the world to uncover to discover. How do you uncover or discover? Shankaracharya says, Isha, by God, by the Lord. Isha, Lord, Bhagavan, Ishvara, by the Lord, by Isha. What is the Isha? What is God? Shankaracharya says, Paramatman, the Supreme Self. What is Paramatman? Your own self, Svena Atmana. And therefore, covering the world, divinizing the world, what Vivekananda says, Shankaracharya explains in that first mantra of the Isha Upanishad, is to see God in everything. To see God in everything is equal to seeing the Supreme Self in everything. To see the Supreme Self in everything is to see yourself, Svena Atmana. What are the, in one sentence, dramatic movements, Shankaracharya. I remember reading these lines of Vivekananda, especially evocative for me, telling for me, because I had more or less, not run away literally, but I thought, even the monastery is not good enough for me. I want to stay on top of a mountain as high as possible and live in a hut and beg for my food and meditate and study all day long. That's what I will do. And I did it. And I went up to the Himalayas in Gangotri. I stayed there for a couple of months. And it was time for me to go back to the ashram where I was serving in a college there. And I had all sorts of remarkable, very interesting, funny, sad, inspiring, all sorts of experiences in the mountains. I remember I was in Uttar Kashi, in our cottage there, in the Ramakrishna Mission cottage there in Uttar Kashi. After the noon prasad, that means the food you have, that you have to beg, there's a place they give food to monks. So after getting the food there, after eating, I was in my room, lying down in the bed in the afternoon and reading Vivekananda. These lines came up. He who runs away to the mountains to meditate and die has missed the way. You can imagine, I sat up. That's me. I was actually up to that point feeling very happy. I thought this is the right way. And from now on, every year I'm going to do this. I'm going to come away to the Himalayas, I'm going to meditate. He has missed the way. Then next, Vivekananda says, he who plunges into the foolishnesses and the vanities of the world has also missed the way. If you're saying this world itself is the goal, purpose, end all of everything, you've missed the way. The result will only be suffering, unhappiness. Then what is the way? The way is to divinize life itself, is to see God wherever you are. If you are in the household, you see God there. In the office, you see God there. In the monastery, you see God there. In the mountain, in the cottage, in the Himalayas, you see God there. It should not be that only here, spirit in the desert, God is there. But if you go back to Phoenix, God is not there. It can't be like that. But there is a purpose to these retreats. When you go away from it all, you pull your mind away from it all, then what is there but not usually noticed can become more noticeable. It is more conducive to sadhana, to spiritual practice, solitude, staying by yourself. Householders would often come to Sri Ramakrishna and say, what is the way for us? Do we have to give up everything and become monks? Sri Ramakrishna said, no. But then what is the way for us? And one thing that Sri Ramakrishna would often recommend is a retreat. He would say, Majhe Majhe Nijjane Vash. Once in a while, go away into solitude. It could be an ashram, it could be utter solitude, it could be a mountain cave. Once in a while, go away. One Tibetan monk said it very beautifully. He says, after enlightenment, after you realize, it is true that what is there in the retreat, he says, forest retreat. Here it's a desert retreat, forest retreat. What is there in the retreat, the forest, is also there in the city. But never give up an opportunity to go into the retreat. It is true, what is there with eyes open is also there with eyes, what is there in eyes closed in meditation is also there with eyes open when you see the world. But never miss your meditation. It is true that there is no difference between you and the Guru, but never fail to give respect to the Guru. Like this, multiple warnings. So, the Yoga Vasishta is especially important because of that. You are all people who have families, jobs, houses, paperwork, lots and lots of paperwork, whether it's car insurance or your own health insurance, same thing, car insurance and body, body is also car. In Upanishad, chariot. So insurance for both. So a lot of responsibilities are there, a lot of work is there. How can one have spirituality? This non-dual spirituality especially is highly suitable for people who are busy in the world. That's why it was preached by Krishna to Arjuna in the battlefield. It was taught by Ashtavakra to Janaka, who was the emperor. So in the midst of activity, responsibility, pressure, struggle, how can one be spiritual? Vivekananda says, the kings of yore in ancient Indian emperors, they were the busiest of people. They were real monarchs with absolute power and huge responsibilities. So if they found something useful here, it helped them. How much more it can help us? If they found it practical, we often say, tell us something practical. If they found it practical, the most practical of people, who are the most practical of people? Kings, politicians, monarchs, generals, they have to be very practical. If they found it practical, how much more so it should be practical for us? Vivekananda says, we complain we have no time. We have a lot of time for nonsense. These are the busiest of people and they had time for this. You often find in these books. In this book, there is a sage, Vashishta, who also, by the way, was a married person. And there is the prince, Rama. That's the dialogue between them. So they are the busiest of people. And yet they had time for it. How much more should we have time for it? So, now the problem with the Yoga Vasishta is it's huge. It's 30,000 verses. I mentioned earlier also this wonderful monk I met. Maybe in the evening when we talk, I'll tell you more about my experiences there. But he used to translate the Yoga Vasishta. He would all day long, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, he would translate that book, the original book, from Sanskrit to English. That's what he would do all day long. And when he would finish, apparently, I was told, He would take all the notebooks and throw them into the Ganges, into the Ganga. Why? Because he was not translating for publication. It was a spiritual practice for him. And he would start all over again from the beginning. And he did so till the end of his life. We don't have to do that, thankfully. Somebody has done us a favor. Somebody has, an unknown monk, we don't know who, few hundred years ago, at least from old manuscripts we find, few hundred years ago, this book was written. Yoga Vashishta Sara, the essence of Yoga Vashishta. So, out of the 30,000 verses, just over 200 verses, he selected, whoever he was, and he put it into 10 chapters. These are, what are these selections? The stories, they're all very fascinating stories. They have been set aside. Many secondary details have been set aside. Just the teachings, just the non-dual teachings, they have been compiled into 10 verses, 10 chapters. So it's a blessing for us. Even if we don't study the whole Yoga Vashishta, we can at least study this book. Now, the way I was introduced to this book was from a wonderful monk called Kalipada Maharaj, Shiva Pradhananda. I don't know, is there anybody here who has ever met him? No. He was in our Belur Mutt, in a Belur monastery, and before that in our Mumbai monastery there for many, many years, decades. He was a strict non-dualist. He gave me a Bengali translation made by another senior monk, Swami Dhireshanandaji, who was also a committed non-dualist, who has translated many Vedantic books into Bengali. So, Kalipada Maharaj, who, if you like non-dualism, if you liked Advaita, he would like you immediately. And he would give you this book, the Bengali version of it. The Bengali version has the 10 chapters with the 200 plus verses from the Yoga Vashishtas selected, enriched by copious notes. You will find them in this book. Plenty of notes. The notes are not part of the original book. The notes are provided by Swami Dhireshananda. And it's a treasury of Vedantic knowledge. It's a kind of eclectic selection. So it's not a beginner's book really. One has to have studied some Vedantic book, have a general idea of Advaita Vedanta. Then this is a very good supplement. And I was unable to use this book until recently because there was no English translation of this book. So our very own Swami Sarvapriyananda, who is the head of the Vedanta Society of Southern California, including the Vedanta Center of Phoenix in Hollywood, he translated this book, and that's the book which you have in your hands now. So, the translation of the original Sanskrit, from the selections from the Yoga Vashishta, translation of the Bengali notes added by Swami Dhireshanandaji. So it's very useful. Now, the way I propose to proceed is, it's a big book. I mean, even this selection, we can't do 200 verses. I'm going to do one verse this morning, the very first verse of the whole book. Just one verse, and you'll see how packed it is. I'm going to do one verse, followed by question answers on whatever I've said. I'm going to say a lot of things in the next 40 minutes or so. And then a meditation, a non-dual meditation, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Then we'll proceed again with something else in the afternoon. And tomorrow I propose to read my favorite chapter in this book, which is 6th chapter, Atma Manana, Contemplation on the Atman. I propose to read it along with all of us. We'll read it and discuss it. That will be all of tomorrow. But now, diving straight into the book, chapter 1, verse 1. Just that one verse. Those who like, you can repeat after me. I will chant and you repeat after me. This is on page 1. Chapter 1, verse 1, page 1. Dikkaladhyanavachinna Dikkaladhyanavachinna Ananta Chinmatra Murtaye Ananta Chinmatra Murtaye Svanubhutyekamānāya Svanubhutyekamānāya Namah Shantaya Tejase Namah Shantaya Tejase. I salute the Supreme Brahman, who is beyond all qualities, tranquil, beyond the limitations of the 10 directions, space, time, or objects, who alone is the embodiment of infinite consciousness, and who is to be known only through the proof of one's own experience. All right. It says here, I salute Brahman. What is Brahman? Chinmatra Murti. Pure consciousness alone. Okay, you can read the book later. Now you have to pay attention. I'm going to say lots and lots of things in the next 40 minutes or so. And it will be like trying to drink from a hose, fire hose. So, Brahman is pure consciousness. Only. It's not a body, it's not flesh and bones, it's not thoughts, mind, feelings. It's pure consciousness and only pure consciousness. Chinmatra Murti. And this pure consciousness is infinite. Ananta. And what is infinite? Which is not limited by space, not limited by time, not limited by object. I'll explain all of this. What's the proof of all of this? Your own experience. Svanubhuti ekamanaya. And so, what's the upshot? I salute this, which is Shanta Teja, which is tranquil radiance. I salute that tranquil radiance. What a beautiful, beautiful verse, opening. I salute that tranquil radiance, which is pure consciousness, which is limitless, all-pervasive, eternal, non-dual. Our every experience proves it. That I salute. Now there is a way of unpacking this verse. What you have to do is listen, not like an upside down pot and leaky pot, dirty pot. Listen how, with attention, the importance of attention. Listen how, so that at the end of it I can say, I know what he said. I can tell you what he said. In my own words, I can sum it up. And traditionally, they would make us memorize these verses. I won't make you memorize. But the purpose of that memorization was at least the basic, the minimum has been accomplished. The information has been transferred. Whether one gets it or not, far before one is enlightened, at least the knowledge has been transferred. At least the information has been transferred. So, listen like that. And listen experientially. Connect it with one's living experience right now. We will do it. We'll go together. We'll walk together. Start with Chinmatra Murti, consciousness alone. Pure consciousness. What is this pure consciousness? The beauty of starting there is we are starting with ourselves. Because we are conscious. Notice this. Whatever we see, right now you are seeing so many things. You are seeing me, all this. You are conscious. I am aware. You are aware when we are seeing all of this. And if I close my eyes and I do not see any of it, but I am listening to what you are saying, Swami, I am still aware. I note that I am aware. And the awareness which was seeing is the same awareness that is hearing. True or not? What we are seeing is very different from what we are hearing. We are hearing sounds, speech. We are seeing colors and shapes. They are very different from each other. And the experience of seeing is also different from the experience of hearing. All of these, please let us follow it like nose. Notice, actually notice the experience of seeing. Here, I'm seeing. Like a child, see, okay, I'm seeing. And close your eyes and hear. Very different experience. Seeing, hearing, very different experience. And seeing also thousands of different things I see. Hearing also thousands of different things I hear. But I notice that one consciousness which enabled me to see, have the experience of seeing, is the same consciousness which is also hearing. It is the same consciousness which smells, which has the experience of smelling. The same consciousness which gave you the experience of the delicious food, taste. Same consciousness which gives us touch even now. Look at the bodily sensations. Same consciousness. It is the one consciousness illumining all our sensory knowledge. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. The sensory experiences keep changing. They are different from each other. The awareness, I'm using awareness and consciousness indifferently. Awareness does not change. The sensory knowledge has a beginning and an end. I'm seeing, not seeing. Seeing again, not seeing. Beginning and an end. But that awareness has no beginning and end. It was there before the beginning of the experience. It is there during the experience. It's there after the experience. All these, the perfect way of listening would be to keep checking. Yes, quite obvious. True. Yes. And it continues all day long. And it continues when we fall asleep and the world disappears from us, our bedroom disappears from us, our body disappears from us. First person experience. Dream world starts. Dreams start. Whole waking world is gone. Entire new dream world has come up. Same awareness, same consciousness continues. And even I might go so far as to say, when the dreams also stop, neither experience of the world nor dreaming, blank, deep sleep. It is the same consciousness which illumines the blankness of deep sleep. Deep sleep is not an absence of experience, it's an experience of absence. It's not the absence of consciousness. It is consciousness illumining an absence. A very simple way of understanding waking, dreaming, deep sleep is just like this. Right now, eyes are open, ears are open, you are listening and hearing. This is called waking, when the sense organs contact an external world. Now let us close our eyes. Thoughts, I cannot see anything anymore. Thoughts, feelings, emotions are going on in my mind, imaginations. Now just for a moment, arrest all the movements of the mind. Stop. Blank. Still. Now gently open the eyes again. When the eyes were open and experiencing the world, it's waking life. This is what we call waking. When the eyes were closed, I was with my own mind. It is a simulation of my dream state. Simulation, it's not dream state, simulation of the dream state. And when I tried and arrested the mind for a few seconds, blank, no stimuli, external or internal, that's a sort of approximation of the deep sleep state. In all three states, you were there. That consciousness. And that consciousness is the self. Again, check. That consciousness which is hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, is it not I? That's what I really call I. I am hearing, I am listening, I am tasting. That consciousness which is awake experience, dream experience, deep sleep, that is I. That does not change. That is continuous. That is one and the same. Yet it cannot be known. It is the one which knows. It is the one which the Upanishads say, that shining, everything else shines. By its light, everything here is lit up. Kathopanishad, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. Tameva bhantam manubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. That shining, everything else shines. By its light, everything here is lit up. You shining, you the consciousness. You the awareness shining. Everything else shines. Everything else, mind, senses, they shine. Shine means not glow in the dark. You're not radium. It is knowledge. You're able to experience, illumine. That shining, everything else shines. Mind shines. The senses shine. By its light, by your light, the mind is illumined. By your light, the senses are illumined. You are the central sun of the little solar system called body-mind. You are the sun at the core of it all. By that light, all is known. Things are seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched. Thoughts also. Every thought is also illumined by that same consciousness. Every memory is illumined by the same consciousness. Every desire, every flash of pain and pleasure, all of it. Our experiences are made possible because we are awareness. That awareness, I am. It is the knower of all knowledge. The light which shines in the heart. So that consciousness, I am. This is what is meant by Chinmatra Murti. I am consciousness alone. We say, I know that. There's nothing big. Yes, I am consciousness, but also I am mind and body, and this body, mind, consciousness, this bundle I am. No, he says Chinmatra, only consciousness. Remember, the objects of the world keep changing. The body keeps changing. The mind keeps changing. It changes much faster than anything else, the mind. But you are that one consciousness. You are the one witness and experiencer of the ever-changing mind-body world. Therefore, you are not the mind, body and world. You are the consciousness alone which experiences, which illumines all experience, which makes possible all experience. Now, here, because you make possible all experience, all knowledge is possible because of you, the consciousness. Therefore, whatever is known is an object to you, an object of knowledge. You are the subject of all knowledge. You are the pure subject, never an object. Therefore, whatever is known must be an object and cannot be you. I'll repeat. Anything that is known is an object of knowledge. And we are, you are, I am the subject of knowledge. Therefore, the subject and the object can never be the same. Whatever we know is an object, it's never the subject. Therefore, I, me, myself, the pure consciousness can never be known. It can never be an object of knowledge. Thank God it cannot be known. We feel disappointed. Oh, we can't know it. We are so eager to know everything, we forget knowledge means limitation. Knowledge means objectification. You cannot be known, and thank God you cannot be known. That means you are the subject. You are the witness. You are that which knows. You are not an object. If you made yourself an object, who would be the subject? What would be the subject? You are always the subject, never the object. You are always the illuminer, never the illumined. And that's good. You are the light of lights. Chinmatra Murti. Now this one consciousness, this consciousness alone, is devoid of the 3 differences and 5 differences. The negation of 3 differences and the negation of 5 differences. We are moving ahead now. Be centered in as awareness. I am awareness. Now we are going to investigate this awareness. And all these investigations are negative investigations. Negative investigation means we will see what we are not. The only way of proceeding, it's not very difficult, but it's a little weird. It's not the way we normally, we get knowledge by knowing what it is. Here, because we cannot know ourselves as I am this, we must know ourselves as what I am not. Therefore, I, the consciousness, am devoid of 3 kinds of differences and consequently of 5 kinds of differences. What do you mean by that? Negation of 3 differences, negation of 5 differences. In what? In pure consciousness. Negation of 3 differences, the traditional Vedantic idea, Swagata, Sajatya, Vijatya, Bheda, Rahita. What do these words mean? There is no difference in consciousness internally of the same kind, of different kind. Internally, number 1, of the same kind, number 2, of different kind. Internally means within consciousness are there parts, are there components, are there areas, locations. Just as body is one, but the body has many parts, and the parts are all different from each other. The hand is different from the foot is different from the tummy is different from the head. Like that, within consciousness, are there differences? Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta says no. No internal difference. Consciousness is one and homogeneous. It's always exactly the same. There are no parts of consciousness. Swagata Bheda Rahita. There are huge philosophical implications of this. If you relax this, in will come Vishishta Advaita Vedanta, which says there are internal differences in the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is Chit, Achit, Vishishta Brahma. Don't worry about the Sanskrit, I'll translate everything. Chit, Achit, Vishishta Brahma. There is a whole huge school of Vedanta which says there is an internal difference within consciousness, within the ultimate reality. And what is the difference? This whole universe is one. That's great. But this universe consists of sentient beings like us and insentient things like tables and chairs and stars and planets. And God, Brahman, ultimate reality is an integral whole. All of it together, like the body. Again, it's not wrong, but that's not the final truth. Advaita Vedanta says, no. There are no differences within pure consciousness like hand and foot and tummy and head. The logic will be very simple. If you want to think about it, if there are differences within consciousness, are those differences known or unknown? If the differences are knowable, then they are not consciousness. They are all objects then. If the differences are unknown, then why even talk about it? You see, there is an internal difference within consciousness. Yes, what is it? I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows. Then don't talk about it. If you know about it, then it's an object of your knowledge, and then it cannot be in consciousness. Consciousness is the subject. So, no internal differences. Before proceeding, let me give you a quick, the easy example of internal differences, differences of the same kind, differences of different kind. So the difference between if you look at a tree, the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the roots, the fruits, they're all part of the same tree, but they're all different from each other. This is called internal difference. In Sanskrit, Swagata Bheda. Is the ultimate reality like that, like a tree which has internal differences? Vedanta says no. Then difference of same kind. This tree and that tree, if they belong to the same species, there are 2 trees. They're clearly different from each other. They are the same kind. So is the ultimate reality like that? Are there many ultimate realities? Or many pure consciousnesses? No. Sankhya philosophy holds there are many pure consciousnesses. Sajatiya Bheda. Similar consciousnesses. We are all similar, but we are all different from each other. Like that tree is different from that tree. Vedanta says no. There is only one pure consciousness. There are no similar pure consciousnesses. This very truth in the Abrahamic religions is the great truth of monotheism. That there is one God. There are no God with capital G, the creator, preserver, destroyer of the world, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. There can be only one of those. That's the great teaching of Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and Islam. Same idea. No sajatiya bheda, no difference in kind. Then there is another kind of difference. There is a tree and the rock. They are of different kinds. The tree is different from the rock, and the rock is not another type of tree. It's not even a part of that tree. It's an entirely different kind of entity. So is there, apart from pure consciousness, is there some other reality? Something different from pure consciousness? And here, the dualistic schools will say, yes, there is Brahman and there is the world. They're different. God has created the world. Advaita Vedanta says no. All very counterintuitive. Whatever appears to be different from pure consciousness is an appearance in pure consciousness. In our own dreams, the example is a dream example is very good. In our own dreams, we are there, and the dreaming mind by itself projects what seems to be a non-mental world. Trees, rocks, people, sky, earth, they don't seem to be the mind. They seem to be very different from the mind. But when we wake up, what's the truth? The truth is that whatever we saw in the dream, physical, time, space, object, all were nothing but the mind. So even when it appears to be different from the mind, it is still the mind. Even when this world appears to be different from consciousness, object different from subject, the so-called object is ultimately nothing other than the subject, pure consciousness. So no difference of kind, sajatiya bheda rahita, vijatiya bheda rahita, no difference of kind, no difference of the same kind, sajatiya bheda rahita, no difference within itself, swagata bheda rahita. The three kinds of difference are negated where? In consciousness. What is the implication? 5 kinds of negation. So the dualistic schools of Vedanta, they uphold, Madhvacharya and others, pancha bheda, 5 differences. And Advaita Vedanta says nope to each of those 5. What are the 5 differences? One is the difference between God and sentient beings, Ishvara Jiva Bheda. Second is the difference between individual sentient beings. You are all different from each other. We are all different from each other. Obvious. Jiva Jiva Bheda. Third is the difference between God and the world, Ishvara Jagat Bheda. God is there in heaven and this is the world. They are different. Ishvara Jagat Bheda. That's the third kind of difference. The fourth kind of difference is Jiva Jagat Bheda. You are different from the chair you are sitting on. You are a sentient being, the chair is an insentient object. And fifth one, Jagat Jagat Bheda. The chair is different from the carpet. And the carpet is different from the hall. The hall is different from the mountain. Things in the world are different from each other. That's all it means. 5 kinds of difference. Difference between God and sentient beings, different between the sentient beings themselves, different between sentient beings and the world, different between objects in the world, and difference between God and the world. 5 kinds of difference dualistic religions affirm. And that's common sense. That's how we all think. Advaita Vedanta says nope to all of them. Ultimately, there is no difference between God and the sentient beings. That is the very meaning of Aham Brahmasmi. This pure consciousness alone, with the individual mind and body, is you and I and Jiva, sentient being. This pure consciousness alone, with the power of Maya, is God. But both are that same pure consciousness. And this individual body mind and the power of Maya, they are appearances. Similarly, the other 4 differences, your homework. Why is there no difference between Jiva and Jiva? Why is there no difference between us? In what sense? Imagine the dream. Suppose you see 100 people in the dream. Are they not all one with you? Krishna says, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Know me alone to be the knower of the field in all these fields, O Arjuna. That means two things. One is God is identical with all sentient beings. And all sentient beings are identical. They're all one consciousness. Then what about okay, I'm not doing your homework for you. So, this one consciousness does not have the 3 kinds of difference and 5 kinds of difference. So then this means, what follows next is the word ananta, limitless. Therefore, pure consciousness becomes limitless. How so? Digkaladi anavachinna. Pure consciousness is not limited by, not cut off by, in Sanskrit, parichinna or avachinna, not cut off by space, time and object. Here it says directions, but it means, it's referring to the Taittiriya Upanishad, the ananta. Limitlessness. What is limitation in time? Something has a beginning and an end in time. The class has a beginning in time and the class has an end in time. It's pretty fast actually. Is it, how much time do we have? 5 minutes? 12 minutes, okay. So, not nearly enough. So, you mean, not limited in time, it would mean eternal. Limited in time means has a beginning and an end. If it's something is not limited in time, that means it has no beginning and no end, eternal. Limitation in space, it means location. So we are located in the chapel here. That means we are not located in our rooms. We are located in the spirit in the desert. That means we are not located in Phoenix now. You are in one place means you cannot be in the other place. We are limited in space. Every entity in this world physically is limited in space. We are limited in space physically. This facility is limited in space. Arizona is limited in space. United States is limited in space. The earth is limited in space. The galaxy and so on. They all have space limitation, from the tiniest particle to the largest galaxy. But suppose something has no space limitation, what will happen to it? All pervasive. There is no space where it is not. There's no space where it is not. It does not have a beginning and an end in space. You can't find out one space where that thing is not, which is not limited in space. Not limited by object. Pure consciousness is not limited by object. Object limitation is what? It's an interesting concept to get one's head around. It's basically what is called the law of identity. A thing is itself and different from everything else. This is a book. It's different from the person holding the book. It's different from every other book. In fact, it's different from every copy of the same book. You also have copies of the book, but this copy is different from those copies. So, every entity is identical to itself and different from everything else. So, this is a kind of limitation. It's a kind of limitation. Why? Because this poor thing can only be itself, it can't be anything else. A pen can only be a pen. It can't be a car or a rock or a chameleon. It can't be anything. It just is itself. It's a limitation. Every object is limited to being itself and different from everything else. Suppose something does not have object limitation. Something is not limited to only being itself. Something is not different from other things. If a thing does not have object limitation, what will happen? What's the implication? Nothing in the universe will be different from it. This has an object limitation. Everything in the universe is different from this, or this is different from everything else in the universe. But suppose there is something which has no object limitation, then no object in the universe will be different from it. There will be no second entity apart from it. No second, non-dual. Non-dual, Advaita. No object limitation means Advaita, non-duality. Pure consciousness is non-dual. There is no second reality apart from it. Summing it, putting it together. Anantam, limitless. It means what? It means this pure consciousness is all pervasive. There is nowhere in space where it is not. It is eternal. There is no time when it is not. And it is non-dual. There is no reality which is different from it. No second reality apart from it. You might say all this sounds rather cool philosophically, but it sounds quite improbable. But no, I will give you an example where all of it is true and we all experience it. Look at the dream example. Many examples can be given. Look at the dream example. In the dream example, you are walking down a beautiful desert retreat with mountains around and the cacti around and this wonderful buildings and nice food and sky and people and nice people around you. All of this is there. You're walking around this vast space. Now when you wake up, when we wake up from the dream, let me ask you 3 questions. 1, in the space which you saw in your dream, the whole retreat center, was there anything apart from you in that space? Were you not there in all of that space? Although it felt, I am walking through the center. I am walking down. When I wake up, I realize I, the one who was walking there, and everything, the path and the sky and the center, all of that space was in my mind. My mind alone became that space in the dream. And the time which was there, dream has its own time. The dream time itself was an appearance in your mind, the dreamer's mind. Therefore, with respect to the dream world, you are eternal, the dreamer. And third question, was there any second person or entity or thing, even the tiniest piece of dust or pebble in the dream apart from you, the dreamer? No. Everything that we saw or even did not see in the dream, whatever was part of the dream, was nothing but me, the dreamer. I was appearing in those forms. With respect to me, the dream is non-dual. Or with respect to the dream entities, the dreaming mind is non-dual. No second entity in the dream apart from the dreaming mind. And this is an example. I can multiply examples. Take the example of a movie and movie screen. When you project a movie on a movie screen, the entire space shown in that movie, suppose it is Star Wars, stars and galaxies are shown, light years and light years are shown. Are they anything apart from the screen? Doesn't the screen pervade the so-called fictional space of the movie? All pervasive screen? Of course. Otherwise the movie won't exist. Isn't the screen eternal compared to the time of the movie? No matter how many millions of years have elapsed in the movie, the screen is eternal compared to that, because it was there before the beginning of the movie and is there after the ending of the movie and during the duration of the movie. And all those entities who appeared in the movie, all the characters, places and objects, spaceships and whatnot, they do not constitute a second reality apart from the screen. The screen is non-dual with respect to the entities in the movie. Movie and screen example. All pervasiveness, eternality and non-duality are there. Basically the idea is the screen is not limited by the movie. The dreamer is not limited by the dream. Pure consciousness is not limited by this universe. That's the meaning of the word Ananta. And this Ananta alone is expanded as Dikkaladi Anavachinna, not limited by space, not limited by object, not limited by time. Adi means etc. What are we doing to all of this? He says, Namaha, I salute. I salute. Now when you say I salute, there is something to be understood here also. The non-dualistic namaha salutation is different from the dualistic salutation. The dualistic salutation is Krishnaya namaha, Shivaya namaha, Devyai namaha. I salute the Divine Mother. I salute Krishna or Christ or Shiva. I salute. I bow down to the divinity. I am a sentient being, a jiva, an ordinary person, a small person. Here is the divinity before me, and I naturally bow down in reverence. But there is an implicit duality there. Always, in all salutation, one salutes another. Now in non-duality it's not possible. And then one saluting oneself also is a little odd. It's a little eccentric. Whom are you saluting? I have great reverence. For whom? For myself. Now, so what does namaha mean here? Two meanings, two very nice interpretations I will share with you, non-dualistic interpretation. And both I am borrowing from the philosopher Arindam Chakravarti. One comes from the Mimamsa tradition, one comes from Advaitic epistemology. First one from the Mimamsa tradition. What are we doing? Investigating the meaning of the word namaha, salutation, in the non-dualistic context. How can you salute in the non-dualistic context? One meaning of namaha, the original meaning of namaha. So Professor Arindam Chakravarti he is very good at playing with words to bring out a deeper meaning. In the Vedic context, remember all of these traditions come from the Vedas. In the Vedic context, there is the kind of worship they used to do was the fire sacrifice. And they would offer things like clarified butter and curd, yogurt and other things like that into the fire, accompanied by the chanting of mantras. The mantras would go like this: Idam Indraya Swaha, Idam Namama, Idam Indraya. This is not mine, this is Indra, the deity Indra, the god Indra. To Indra I sacrifice this offering. So that which was mine, now I give up to God or to the divinity or to the deity. This is the basic, the core idea of worship. It was called yajna, sacrificial offering. The core idea of worship is sacrifice, giving up something that belongs to me, to God. And the word namaha in Sanskrit, here I have to stick to Sanskrit. He plays on that word, the philosopher Arindam Chakravarti. He says, namaha is equal to na mama, not mine. Not mine. So every worship is of the form, not mine, it is thine. It could start with you are offering flowers or money or clarified butter, ghee into the fire or whatever it is you're offering. But in Vedantic sense, what is it that we are offering? The technical word is upadhi, body, mind, prana, intellect, senses. These are not mine, these are thine. Either these are Prakriti, nature itself, or these are Ishvara, the creation of God. They are not mine. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the prana, I am not the intellect, I am not even the ego which is saying these things. All of these I give up unto you, my Lord. Then what remains? What am I? What cannot be given up? Pure consciousness, awareness. So I am awareness alone. The very meaning of namaha is that I am pure awareness. You see the cleverness of this interpretation? And this has solid roots in the Vedic tradition, that this is the original meaning of namaha. In fact, the definition of worship which we learned in Mimamsa philosophy, in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, ritualistic portion of the Vedas, is Dravya Tyagaha, is giving up of an object of offering. Here the object of offering happens to be what I identified with earlier: body, prana, mind, personality, memories, likes and dislikes, ego, everything which was not I had taken to be I. Now I recognize it is not I. It's not mine, it is thine. Am I less by it? Do you become less by breaking out of the cage? No. When you say, I am not limited to this cage, I burst free from the cage. It is the lion bursting free from a bamboo cage, which couldn't have held the lion anyway. Bursting free. Pinjara Devakeshari. As a lion bursts free from a cage, not mine. You're bursting free from the cage. That is the meaning of Namaha. That is from the interpretation based on Mimamsa philosophy. Second interpretation, which is the same philosopher Arindam Chakravarti gave in another context when he's talking about Kashmiri Shaivism, he's talking about Abhinavagupta. And he, beautiful line, Atmanam namami, Atmanam namami. I salute the self. Namami is a variation of Namaha. I salute, I am saluting. Namami, aham namami, I am saluting. Now, follow this derivation. It's a simple derivation because in Sanskrit it might sound difficult. Namami, look at the word namami. Those who know Sanskrit, it simply means I bow down. Namami, I bow down. But he splits the word, Arindam Chakravarti, he splits the word into na-mami. Mami, ma in Sanskrit means to measure. To measure. Whenever we see something, hear something, smell something, taste something, touch something, we are measuring. We are objectifying. All our scientific instruments are measuring. What can be measured? Only the measurable, only the limited, only the parichinna. Measurability means limitation. Limitation means an object, an object. Measurability means two things, limitation and object. What do you measure? An object. And what kind of object can be measured? Not immeasurable, not infinite. Infinite by definition means immeasurable. Only the limited can be measured. The moment you say limitation, time, space, object limitations come in, Maya comes in there. So, measurability equals objectifiability equals limitation, limitability or finitude. Atmanam namami. I do not objectify the self. I do not measure the self. I do not limit the self. Which means the self is the pure subject, not an object, is immeasurable, is infinite, not limited by time, space and object. From the very word namami, it shows the real nature of the self. Actually, whatever I'm saying in this talk, 45 minutes or so, is a basis for a whole series of classes actually. I'm packing in enormous amounts into every word here. I'm overloading the words. Namaha, two meanings. Namama, not mine. If the body, mind, prana, ego are not mine, then I am pure consciousness. Namami, I cannot measure the self. I cannot objectify the self. What can be objectified? Body, mind, prana. Therefore, body, mind, prana and all are not the self. Then what is the self? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. The pure subject, pure consciousness, awareness, bliss itself, Shiva itself is the self. Namaha, Namami. Now, we have done these words. Digkaladhyanavachinna ananta chinmatra murtaye namaha. What's remaining? Swanubhuti ekamanaya shantaya tejase. I just mentioned a few things about it in the next class. Then we'll go into Q&A and meditation, hopefully. Yes. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. The hard part is over. Whatever happens from now till the end of the retreat is just explanations of what happened now and trying to experience it. Good.